The Gospel according to Luke. Jesus said, "Do not be afraid, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. Sell your possessions and give alms. Make purses for yourselves that do not wear out, an unfailing treasure in heaven where no thief comes near, no moth destroys. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. Be dressed for action and have your lamps lit. Be like those who are waiting for their master to return from the wedding banquet, so that they may open the door for him as soon as he comes and knocks. Blessed are those slaves whom the master finds alert when he comes. Truly, I tell you, he will fasten his belt and have them sit down to eat, and he will come and serve them. If he comes during the middle of the night or near dawn and finds them so, blessed are those slaves. But know this, if the owner of the house had known at what hour the thief was coming, he would not have left his house be broken into. You also must be ready, for the Son of Man is coming at an hour you do not expect." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, O Christ.
Please be seated. Tony Campolo, now of blessed memory, was a writer, a lecturer, a leader primarily in the conservative end of Christianity in the United States. One day, he was praying, and you may not have had this experience. He didn't feel that he was getting anything back. I thought he was the only one for that, yeah. So anyway, wasn't getting them back, and so he decided to talk to his wife. And he just complained. He said, it is hard enough to do God's work. I just wish God would tell me what it is. Have you ever had that desire, just to have a little clarity from the Almighty? Just a little bit? Well, his wife, loving, caring soul that she was, replied to her husband, in your prayers, if you would just stop talking all the time and maybe listen, you might hear something. Sure, for spouses, they keep us grounded. Amen. Turn to your spouse and say thank you. So we can understand, I think, Campolo's problem. And yet, do we really want God to show up? Do we really want God to appear to us and say, Brent, this is what I would like you to do? Do we really want that? I'm not sure I do. I'd like ambiguity. It's called the fudge factor. I like that. Short pop quiz. What is the command most frequently given in the Bible? What was that? Joe is such a faithful guy. In this case, wrong. Do not fear. Do not fear, do not fear. Or some variation on there, do not fear. Somebody took the time to count. That wasn't me. 365 times in the Bible, God says, do not fear. That's when God shows up. And God says, Do not fear. Has anybody ever have you rafted the Willamette or the Mackenzie? Or something similar to that? Okay, they're pool and drop rivers. So when you're in the pool, life is good. When you're in the drop, oh Lord, oh Lord, oh Lord, I don't want to fall out, right? A little concern. So a little danger, but excitement. When God shows up, it's you're leaving the pool and you're heading for the rapids. And I think that's why God says, do not fear. I've got something for you to do. Let me give you an example. Friedrich was born in 1892 in Westphalia, Prussia, to Pauline and Heinrich. Now, Heinrich was a Lutheran pastor, and so that family was deeply religious, very conservative, quite patriotic, very traditional. That's what he breathed, that's what he lived. And so when Friedrich gets done with school, he joins the German Navy, and he fights in World War I with the Navy. He will become, finally, a captain of a German U-boat. The war ends. He leaves the military. He gets married. He tries farming. It doesn't work. But he has a fallback position. He knows what he's going to do. Profession B is become a Lutheran pastor. Okay, if you can't do anything else, become a Lutheran pastor. Fine. So he becomes a Lutheran pastor, and his goal is to help bring order and meaning to a society that is just in tatters. Because not only have they lost the war, but the Treaty of Versailles was so punitive that the German economy was just almost nothing. Also, he didn't care for the Weimar Republic. It was too wide open. I mean, there are atheists here and communists there. And he knew that he wanted to get his country back on the straight and narrow. And so, because of that, he, along with a lot of other Lutheran pastors, supported Hitler. And he voted for Hitler in 24, 28, and 33. In this time period, he writes a bestseller memoir, From U-Boat to Pulpit. But then, in fact, he celebrated Hitler for national renewal. That's what he thought this guy was going to do. Now he was a pastor, he studied the Bible, he led worship, he preached. But suddenly, somewhere along the line in 1933 to 1934, God shows up in a different way. Oh, let me tell you, Heinrich, that was his very first name. Evidently, the Germans like a lot of names, right? So his fourth Christian name was Martin. His family name was Niemöller. So this is Martin Niemöller. Somewhere in late 33, 34, and there was something that was called the Arian paragraph at that time. The Aryan paragraph was, we had something similar in the United States where a white person, there were these agreements that you couldn't sell to a black person. Here in Germany, it was you couldn't sell to a Jew. Could not sell to a Jew. You could not open up things to Jewish people. He was always uncomfortable with that. But then he began to see the growing anti-Semitism. And so in 1934, he joined with Dietrich Bonhoeffer and several others to form what was called the Confessing Church, which was the church which went against what the Nazis were doing, where most Lutherans said, okay, fine, we'll go along with it. Now, it's a work in progress. And as with Lutherans, we understand that it's not always, we're now all bright and shiny. That's God's gift, but we still have sin, right? So he still have anti-Semitic writings from him, even after that. But then, in 1936, he signs an open letter criticizing what the Nazis were doing with regard to anti-Semitism. And on July the 1st, 1937, he is arrested. And he will be held ultimately in Sachsenhausen and Dachau, the concentration camps, until the end of the war. And he says that it was in that experience that he realized how wrong he had been. Sometimes it takes us a while to understand what God is about, what's going on. And after the war, he became a peace activist. He worked against nuclear weapons, and he would become the president of the World Council of Churches. But he is most well known for a short piece. And the piece is this. When they came for the socialists, I did not speak up because I was not a socialist. When they came for the trade unionists, I did not speak up because I was not a trade unionist. When they came for the Jews, I didn't speak up because I wasn't a Jew. When they came for me, there was no one left to speak up for me. So when God shows up and says, do not be afraid, watch out. But God does come. And in fact, we get that in today's gospel. Do not be afraid, little flock. It is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. Sell your possessions. Give alms. Be ready. It seems to me, see what you think, that when God shows up in our lives, God usually comes with two different things, gift and call. I think it's usually both. Gift. God brings us forgiveness, life, and salvation. God comes to bring us into a community of compassion and joy. Amen to that? So God comes with gifts. Then God also comes with call. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid. But in this world, which is still full of greed, hatred, and arrogance, God comes and calls us not to greed, but generosity. Not to hatred, but to love, not to arrogance, but humility. And with those, God calls us to help deal with the ills, the spiritual ills of our world. Brothers and sisters, God still comes and says, don't be afraid. I love you unconditionally. I choose you. You together are mine. And now come, follow me, because there is still work to be done. Amen.